needed a answer to all of my problems. Then came you.
Hi, my name is Amaret Ovnis, and I am the host of the Peculiar Life Podcast. This podcast is designed to encourage and inspire those who are going through a life altering experience. So, whether it is the death of a loved one, whether it is you losing your job, going through a divorce, going through an illness, whatever situation you're going through that's shaking up your life, this podcast is for you. I am going to start off the podcast by sharing my journey with cancer. On July 29, 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 3 multiple myeloma. Myeloma is a blood cancer. So, so I'm going to backtrack to 2012. I went to the doctor for a routine visit, and the doctor noticed that there was something going on with my blood, so she referred me to a hematologist. At the time, I was 36 years old. And the doctor was like, "Hey, you're just anemic," and they prescribed me some iron supplements. Well, the iron supplements started causing some other issues, so they started to put me on an IV drip every 3 months. I would sit down for about 3 hours and let this iron drip directly into my blood. I still was not getting any better. Fast forward 2020. I had just given birth to my only child and I was very sick. I was in and out of the hospital. I had seen about 7 different doctors at this time. Nobody could figure out what was going on. I had been misdiagnosed with all types of stuff, right? So finally, a friend of mine, shout out to Ron Mosley, he was like, "Hey, I think you need to go to a research hospital because they will figure out what's wrong with you." And sure enough, it was a Thursday night and I was very sick to the point where I had to ask my husband to help me up off the floor. And so um we went to the hospital and it just so happened to be a black doctor on staff. His name was Willie Guilford at UAB Hospital in Gardendale, Alabama. Dr. Guilford ran some tests and says, "Hey, we think you have something called multiple myeloma." And so I'm gonna be honest with you, I was very tired. I was just like, "All right, so you'll give me a prescription," because I've been, like I said, misdiagnosed so many times. He was like, "No, you need to see an oncologist," and they had given me this DVD thing to give to the oncologist. So fast forward to Monday, I already had an appointment with an internal med doctor. I gave the DVD to the internal med doctor. The internal med doctor comes in like, "Hey, you need to see an oncologist ASAP. Can you go today at 2 o'clock?" And I was thinking, okay, sure. So when I got in the car, I finally went to Google and I was like, what the heck is multiple myeloma? Everybody was like, all so serious about this, right? Well, that's when I discovered that they thought that I had cancer. So I was like, I don't know. Let's just go to this oncologist and see what he says. So I go to the oncologist. The oncologist says, "Hey, I'm looking at the DVD from UAB, and yeah, it looks like you do have myeloma, but we're gonna do a bone marrow biopsy just to be sure." So they do this bone marrow biopsy that's excruciatingly painful, right? But I come back a few days later. Well, I think it was a week later. And that's when they told me that yeah, you have stage 3 myeloma. Now the doctor says, the disease has progressed so much so that we can only treat you. Other people that have this level of disease progression typically only live about 4 years. Well, when he said that, my faith rose up and I was just like, well, God is going to heal me and I'll be fine. My husband, on the other hand, started crying. He was like, "Are you telling me my wife's going to die?" And he was like, "Well, we're going to do everything to treat her, but we just haven't seen," he said, "anybody survive for a long time." Fast forward 3 weeks later. Oh, well, let me show y'all this. So, they started me on chemotherapy. This is chemotherapy. This is called Revlimid. Wait, it's upside down. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to. This is Revlimid. Y'all still can't really see it. But anyway, this is 25 milligrams. I had to take this chemotherapy for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, I went back to the doctor. They ran some tests. The following week, I went back, and the doctor says, "Well, this is unusual, but 90% of the cancer is gone." Yeah. And I was like, "Well, I told you God was going to heal me." Okay. And so the doctor was like, "Well, because they're scientists. They don't necessarily believe in God or whatever." And he's like, "Well, this is unusual, but we're just going to keep an eye on it." So I continued to take the chemotherapy pills 3 weeks on, 1 week off. During my 1 week off, that's when I would go to the doctor for them to do these tests or whatever. And I kept getting better to the point where I became eligible for a stem cell transplant. So, in the following episodes, I'm going to talk to you about what happened when I had a stem cell transplant or bone marrow transplant. Also, I'm going to talk to you about what happened when I took the COVID vaccine. I have a lot of information to share, but I don't want these podcast episodes to be long because I really want to, one, I want y'all to actually pay attention to what I'm saying. And two, because I am a woman of color, I wanted to get it out here to say, listen, if you are consistently being diagnosed with anemia, ask your doctor to check for myeloma because the average myeloma patient is 70 years old. So nobody was checking for myeloma in the 36-year-old, or I was 43 when I had my baby. Nobody was checking for myeloma because it's not common for people in my age range to have it, right? But like I said, I believe God is leading me to be honest and transparent with y'all about this situation. So I'm gonna put a pause in it for right now. But do come back next week. I'm gonna talk about stem cell transplant and everything that happened with that. And that's it. All right. Y'all have an amazing week. And I'll be back to talk about my cancer journey. Again, my name is Amaretto Nice, and I am sharing my cancer journey with you where I am right now in 2023. All right. Bye bye.
I needed a answer to all of